What is up, guys? It's your boy Rick Kakis, and yesterday I was perusing Twitter and oh, that's the wrong clip. Just don't worry about that. Anyways, I saw this tweet from Paul Tassi showcasing a picture of a sidearm, the Heliocentric QSC. This is a world drop weapon actually introduced last season, and he's saying, alright, this may have to be good enough, clearly implying that he's been farming this particular weapon and is settling with this role, and the role in question is going to be perpetual motion in the left column and then incandescent. He's actually got two perks in that right column because he's actually been farming master loss sectors specifically for this weapon. And I'm thinking, why? I know this weapon is great in PvP, but an incandescent role? This is something that I honestly might have just overlooked. So I actually replied with my own heliocentric. I have a role with Demolitionist plus incandescent, actually a fantastic role that I just naturally saved and then shoved in the vault, never to see a beam of sunlight. Kind of like myself. Anyways, I was thinking, man, am I missing something? Did I overlook this weapon? And looking at the replies to Paul's tweet, it would actually imply that, yeah, I did. Someone's asking, why don't you just use the Durang? It can get enhanced incandescent. Paul's saying, but this feels so darn good. Then someone else chimes in and says, I was looking for demo in can, like my role, but I got heal clip in can, and holy crap, you literally can't die. It's my new baby. There's someone else showcasing a gif of all the God Rolls they've gotten. Come on, dude. And there's another person saying, I have the one with heal clip and incandescent. It's now my #1 favorite solar legendary. And there are plenty more comments also just fawning over this weapon. So I was like, I gotta try this thing out. I took my roll out of the vault, and guys, first impressions, I did not like it. Like, holy crap. My main complaint right off the rip was that I can't see what I'm shooting at. Like, what is this recoil? I want to see the enemy, not my silencer bouncing up and down. It seems like the Bungie dev who was in charge of recoil went and shot his first gun at the local gun range and absolutely limp-wristed a 9mm, and now here's what we got. And I know some people are going to say, oh, it's realistic. When I'm in an ascendant realm in space shooting aliens, I'm not worried about realism when it comes to my recoil. So initially I'm thinking, oh my goodness, Paul Tassi has no idea what he's talking about, and it wouldn't be the first time. Just kidding, love you, Paul. But, okay, again, that was my first impression. Again, I just don't like seeing nothing but the silencer when I'm trying to shoot the enemies. But as I continued using it, the #1 thing that completely changed my mind, and now I'm kind of on the heliocentric bandwagon, guys, is that I just stopped aiming down sights. Seriously, when you use this sidearm, in PvE especially, you really get as much accuracy as you're going to need just hip firing. The bloom is extremely minimal. That reticle, again, even in hip fire, stays extremely tight. So I was landing way more consistent precision shots, hip firing even at longer ranges than ever aiming down sights. And once I made that transition, I was actually really able to appreciate this weapon and really kind of see where these people are coming from. Now, if you can handle looking at a silencer completely covering your target, okay, you're a better player than me, and by all means aim down sights. But if you are someone who is annoyed by that recoil like I was, definitely put it into hipfire and just go to town. Another big tip is make sure you have full auto enabled in your settings so you can just hold down the trigger and this thing is going to yeet as many rounds out as possible. Now let's talk about the roles here. A lot of people did mention heal clip plus incandescent, and also demo plus incandescent was mentioned as well. And I think those two are really the best roles you're looking for PvE. Remember, this is a solar weapon, and frankly, all solar weapons are absolutely clapping cheeks right now because you have all of those seasonal artifact perks juicing them to the absolute gills. I mean, you have the one where precision hits and final blows will give you radiant. You have another one where if you're radiant, you cause scorch. You have another one where final blows will grant those ignition explosions. They're just absurd, and the rolls this thing can get are super, super good, specifically for the one I'm going to be be showing off with Demo Incandescent, remember, that is an absolute wombo combo because Demolitionist, which is going to give you a chunk of grenade energy whenever you get a final blow, that actually triggers on the incandescent scorches. So as you can see right here, I shoot this one guy, I cause the nearby enemies to scorch, and I stand there, I do nothing, and you can see when those enemies die from the scorch, boom, there's a chunk of grenade energy, and then there's another one, right? Like, so all of those scorch kills, and if you stack scorch, remember, you're going to cause incandescent explosions. Those are all contributing to a massive amount of grenade energy. You are just able to yeet out so many grenades with a Demo plus incandescent weapon. Now, I don't have the heal clip roll, but my goodness, I would imagine it's very, very good. Sidearms, and especially, you know, this one and this archetype, intrinsically have very fast reload speeds. So you can see in the background gameplay, I'm able to shoot out my shots, and I actually have a backup mag mod, so we have 19 rounds. Like, I have a, you know, relatively big magazine for a sidearm, but because it's like the fast shooting sidearm with the fast reload speed, I am yeeting out these reloads no problem. If I am now getting health back every time I do that, I would imagine that's incredible. Again, either roll, I think either Demolitionist or Heal Clip, I think the main thing you want is Incandescent, is going to be very effective in a PvE environment. Not to mention, sidearms right now in PvE are actually performing quite well. They were the recipient of some pretty big buffs in terms of PvE damage when Bungie did that, you know, huge sweeping primary weapon, like buffed so that everything could catch up to the SMGs. And this season, they are a featured anti-champion weapon. You can get anti-barrier sidearms. So it's Solar, which is, again, just popping off this season, and it's an anti-champion weapon. It gives you a lot of utility if you want to run this weapon in something like a Lost Sector. You know, it's going to be very, very effective at what you want to do. And so, even though my first impressions with this weapon were not great, I really did kind of come around, and guys, if you have a roll of this weapon with incandescent specifically, you have to try it in PvE. A lot of people see sidearms and they immediately think of PvP, but you gotta give them a crack in a PvE activity as well. Now, with that being said, there are some caveats here. Am I willing to say that this is the best, like, Solar Legendary Primary? Definitely not. There are still some fantastic SMGs out there, and specifically if you want that Demo Incandescent roll, remember that the Solar SMG from the Ghosts of the Deep dungeon can actually get Demolitionist, and, you know, I have Adrenaline Junkie, which is quite the wombo combo as well, but it can get Demo plus Incandescent, and you know, with that, you can actually aim down sights and see your target. So that's going to be a pretty darn good weapon as well. Not to mention stuff like the Callus mini tool with Incandescent is still cracked out of its mind. Like, you do have a lot of fantastic Solar primaries. I actually do think this is kind of up there, especially I really want to try that Heal Clip roll if I ever get it. Because it's a world drop weapon, these are very difficult to, like, target farm. In fact, basically impossible to target farm. So keep that in mind. But another caveat here, guys, is that this weapon, and frankly all other Solar weapons in the game, are going to perform a lot worse when the final shape launches. And that's simply due to the fact that the seasonal artifact perks are going to change, and then you'll have another element of weapons. Maybe void weapons are juiced to the gills, and Solar weapons are, relegated to what arc weapons are right now, which is just, you're not really using them because why would you use them? Because the featured elemental weapons are doing so well. So it's kind of hard to judge this weapon, right? Like, would it be as good when I'm not giving myself Radiant, and I'm not causing extra Scorch, and I'm not causing those ignition explosions and all of that stuff? Maybe it wouldn't be that amazing, but keep in mind that Incandescent is always going to be good because it's providing Solar keywords, Scorch. So a weapon with Incandescent in a Solar 3.0 build that can actually build into Scorch synergies. You have fragments where scorching enemies gives you more class ability energy. You can have more Scorch stacks, and that even works with your incandescent weapons. So like, it's always going to be relevant having those elemental keywords available with your weaponry to synergize with your build. So again, actually, I slept on this weapon. Like, admittedly, I completely slept on this weapon, and it's really impressing me so far. Guys, that is it for the video. Hope you enjoyed and found this informative. If you did, please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video. If you guys want to see more Destiny 2 content similar to this, don't be afraid to slap that subscribe button. If you want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter at RickKakis. That is linked in the description down below. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.